having the time to distill it down to something that is digestible, something can go on 7 index cards because all hell's breaking loose in 30 seconds at a timeout at the end of a game is really important. Why do you consider this aspect of basketball something that you invest a lot of time in being right with?
Well, I think it starts with so many games coming down to those last few minutes and, being with a team that executed so well. I came into the league and I was fortunate to be with a program that was in a ton of close games, playoff games, throughout the 10 years I was there. There was a value placed on end-of-game situations. And as I've been in this league, to me, this is one of the areas that coaching impacts the game at an extremely high level. For me, I say this a lot, I think this is where you make your money as a coach is, how your teams execute down the stretch, last 5 minutes of the game. The way you execute on offense, on defense, the tweaks, the adjustments you make, the side out of bounds plays, underneath out of bounds plays on offense, defense. To me, it all affects winning. And that's probably the area as a head coach that you can impact more than any area throughout the 48-minute games is there down the stretch. So I take great pride in that, Rick, in that stretch. I work at it. Our staff works at it. Our players work at it. It's not just a one-man show. Ultimately, our players have to make shots and make plays. But I think we have to do our part as coaches to put them in position to make those plays and feel comfortable making those plays.
Jay talked about how a lot of this is real time, and as much as you might come into these situations with a plan,
yeah,
you also have to be willing to blow it up. I mean, he used the last game as an example of this. He said, he goes, our leaning going into that game was that there would be opportunities for Gordon. Yeah. And he said, we came to a conclusion that, to deny that Terry was having that kind of a game would have been foolish. How much of that in this sense is a science versus an art?
Yeah, it's both. You got to be prepared. The science piece, you got to go in and be ready to go with a script. And I think, Jay and I sit before every game and talk through our end of game plays, our execution, where we're going to go with the ball. I'd say 6 out of 10 times we probably go that direction. The other 4, you got to have gut feel and make those tweaks and adjustments along the way. It does not go as you script it or plan it, but I think you got to be ready to adjust on the fly and have those counters ready. And I feel much more comfortable today sitting here than I did a few years ago in making those adjustments and those plays. And the longer you're together as a team, obviously the more comfortable you get. We've only been together a short period, and I already feel comfortable with them. But over time, we should only get, better as we go in this area.
One last thing on that subject. Cody Zeller was saying yesterday that the fact that you guys have become so much more diverse in offense, he said, it was obvious that Kemba was going to get the ball because he was the person most prepared to, almost always in those situations. He said he just thinks that now you guys are just so much harder to scout, at the end of games because there is no massive tendency to what's about to happen.
Yeah, I think that's true. Obviously, in this league, you need 1 or 2 players that can go make plays for you, and the elite have that, right? I don't think it's a secret here. The top-tier teams have that, but we're very diverse, and I do think that it's one of our strengths is that most nights teams don't know where we're going with the ball. I mean, they can guess, but we've gone to, Devontae, Terry, Gordon. PJ's made big shots for us over the last year and a half, and Miles has. I'll put Miles in there as well. And now you add LaMelo to the mix, who's made big plays down the stretch as well. It's a healthy problem for me based on where we go with the ball late game. But sometimes, Rick, I draw something up or we have something designed for a certain player, but they also got to make the right play. It doesn't always, just because I draw it up for somebody, doesn't mean that guy shoots it every single time. That our guys trust each other to make the right play. And I think that's probably what I'm most proud of with our group is that in those last 5 minutes, last 3 minutes of a game, we tend to make the right play. It's not just a one-on-one play. We take what the defense gives us, and our guys are comfortable in those rhythm shots.
Matt Ruchinski.
Coach, in the last couple games against Toronto, they were able to get off to quick starts against you guys, particularly from beyond the arc. how important is it going to be defensively? Even though they have guys out, they still have a lot of shooters out there to slow them down early in the game.
Yeah, they're very good offense. No matter who they're missing, they're still scoring the ball. They do a great job driving the ball, kicking it, looking for open threes. They have guys that can, make the second play, the third play. They shoot at a high clip. We're going to have to do a better job at the three-point line. But that really starts at the point of attack. They get a lot of their threes off of the drive kick. So for us, we got to stay in front of the ball, do a better job not getting beat. I think that's really where it starts for us. The more times we get beat and the more times we're in rotation, the more threes they're going to get. So for us, we got to sit down and guard one-on-one tonight. Obviously, you got to have a scramble mentality once the ball starts to move. But we got our hands full tonight against a very good offense.
Thanks.
We'll go to Danny Thompson and then James.
Coach Danny Thompson with three-point conversion. Tonight, Toronto comes in the building, but most importantly, this will be the largest crowd of the season. Yeah, you had 500 fans on Thursday, but knowing that you're probably going to have a packed house tonight, that everybody's been anticipating seeing the Hornets for the first time, how does that make you feel as a coach as you step onto the court in something completely different than what you stepped onto about maybe 2 weeks ago?
Well, it's not going to be a packed house, 3,000, but it's going to feel like a packed house, Danny, which is great for our guys. I think it's fantastic. It's 3,000, and I expect all 3,000 to sound like it's 18,000, so everybody's got to bring their best out there and scream their lungs out. But we're excited for it. I mean, I'm thrilled. I think our guys, more than anything, our players will, feel the energy in the crowd and want to perform well for their fans. And I think that's important. We're an entertainment business, and, our guys feed off the energy of the crowd. And this is a group that has the ability to really draw in their audience and their fans. The way this group plays, the way they share the ball, move the ball, the pace they're playing out, how hard they compete. Our fans should enjoy the show tonight.
Did it feel different on Thursday, coaching? You can say being in a quiet arena for the first half of the season. Did it feel different coaching, knowing that there are people in the stands and you can actually hear them talk?
Yeah, it did. It felt a little bit different at home. We had been on the road for some away games that had fans, so we had experienced it a little bit, at Utah, at Phoenix. But as a home game, it felt a little bit different. There was a little bit more energy out of the 500 that were here. I expect to even have more energy tonight with 3,000. So it does. It feels different. It's a different vibe out there for sure.
James, go ahead.
Hey, GB. James Plowright, SB Nation. Last year, the Raptors played a lot of zone in the playoffs. It was quite well known. Just wondering if, you took any inspiration from that with the Hornets leading the league in zone this year. And then kind of a follow-up connected to that, it seems like the team's played a little bit less zone recently, and just kind of your thoughts and reasoning behind that.
We've settled into more of a man concept right now, trying to simplify our defense. We still play zone, not as much as we were playing. We do have a young team, and we've probably lessened our zone possessions a little bit more in recent games or recent weeks, just to simplify our coverages right now. And yeah, Toronto's one of those teams we've looked at over the years that, changed their defenses up quite a bit. Miami's another team that does it. They've had success. So we've looked at, Miami, Toronto, because they don't always have a rim protecting big, but I think mixing up the coverages have given us some thoughts or ideas to do that as well ourselves. So we play different zone than they do. Our zones are different than theirs. We play it at different times in different ways. But I think, more than anything, both teams like to disrupt with their defense. And, I think Toronto's a great comp for us in that regard.
Thank you.
Last question will go to Michael. Go ahead.
Hi, James. Michael Grange from Sportsnet. You've had 16 games with LaMelo as a starter. What are some areas he still needs to improve? And what are some areas he has improved in just that brief time?
Well, he's improved basically in every area from the day he stepped in here. His decision-making. I think now that he's more comfortable with his teammates and the system, it's really about managing the game. I think a lot of his early season success and his play was built off just straight instinct, right? Just how he plays as a basketball player. But now he's starting to think the game, think about time, situation, who needs a touch, who needs a call. And he's starting to become more of a manager of the game than just a player of the game. So that's really been big for us. And that's going to be probably the biggest step you see the rest of the way this season. And then defensively, he's improving every single night. We're not where we need to be. This is new for him. This is a new system, a new league. He's got new personnel every night he has to learn. And we're doing it on the fly. There's not a lot of practice time. I don't get to drill with him for 2 days straight before we play a game. Literally, we're going from game to game, and he's having to learn this on the fly. So he's attentive. He's very coachable. He picks things up quickly. So a tremendous amount of growth from day one.